course, the drafts have begun, though. Keeper of the Light and the Ember is the initial pickups here from Army Geniuses. MIPH going for this Marcy hero once again that we keep seeing right into the TA. Danog, do you want to give me a prediction? Like, what position is this Marcy going into before we talk about these openings? Number 5, he says. I've been seeing a lot of 3 Marcy recently, Danog. What's been going on with that?
I've seen a lot of 3 Marcy losing, is what I've been seeing, because it's just a hero that has, like, 0 farming mechanics. The only reason that I can see it working is if you're pairing it together with, you know, your raid boss style, like a Medusa, for example, right? That's the only situation where there's just going to be 2 other cores soaking up a lot of that farm on the map. But, I mean, I think we saw... Might have been KP playing it. Talon versus... God, I forget who their opponents were, but KP, even in the offlane Marcy role, was second last on net worth at the very end of the game. Like, the hero just drops off an absolute cliff, and I feel like Marcy's toolkit suits the support life a little bit better.
I agree with you on that. I think Pos 3 Marcy did look kind of bad. So we do go into the Keeper of the Light as the third pickup, rather the Zeus for the third pickup here for AG. This is a hero that's been making its reappearance once again. The Zeus, a bit more mobility these days with the new E, and I guess we are in a bit of a spellcasting meta right now as well, so Zeus does make enough sense. It doesn't feel like it's going to be a mid-Zeus here. It does feel like the mid-Ember's coming out, so maybe support Zeus is what we're seeing. I don't know, what are you thinking?
I mean, you're almost, like, how do you even lane this? Because when I think Army Geniuses and I see Keeper of the Light, I think Naaman. Like, he's a very good Keeper of the Light player. But we've also seen, like, position 4 Keeper with an off-lane Ember Spirit occasionally. I think they'd want to keep a little bit of the flex there, just because you really don't want to lane a Zeus into a TA. Previously, you might have been able to make it work when you had Static Field as the third ability, just because that got rid of an extra refraction charge, but now it's just horrible, absolutely horrible. You're going to get bodied in lane, so I feel like Ember Spirit has to be there. So I honestly don't know what the hell Army Geniuses are doing and how they're going to lane this.
Okay. Alright, well, we'll have to wait and see, I suppose, as Gyrocopter and Tiny comes out, but AG straight away going right into the Lycan. I don't know, Danog. I mean, this Lycan, it's been making a reappearance as well. It seems like there is a bit of Zoo going on in the current meta. I don't know if MIPH have the kind of heroes to deal with the Lycan, but what are you thinking?
I'm thinking this is probably a mid-TA, a Marcy 5 and a Gyro 1. I feel like the Gyro 1 could work in this situation just because it's one of those heroes that is enabled so heavily by the Marcy, right? Like, level 1 rebounds, you get 45% movement speed for 5 seconds. So you're going to be able to chase down anyone. And Gyro is one of those heroes that can get pretty active early on into the piece. So I think that might be the avenue that they go down. But you're right. You know, if it is a 1 Gyro, I mean, at least you'll have the flat cannon, right? To be able to deal with the Lycan summons. It's not as bad, considering Necrobook isn't in the game anymore, so that's nice. But you mentioned the Zoo on Army Geniuses. Do they really have much Zoo outside of the Lycan, though? That's the thing that I'm a little concerned about, right? All of your tower damage is on the Wolfman.
That's a fair point. I mean, you are very reliant on this Lycan having a very good game here to get those structures down. I suppose we'll see what they pick up to finish off this kind of draft. Kind of curious as well, right? Like with the Gyrocopter, if it is indeed a POS 1 here for MIPH, it's an interesting combo with the Marcy, because you got the flat cannon plus the sidekick to add even more damage and lifesteal. It could be quite a devastating kind of combo to have here for MIPH if it's going to be that POS 1 Gyrocopter coming out.
Yeah, it's a big if, right? Like, they might very well just go, you know, off-lane Marcy, 4 Tiny, 1 TA, and 5 Gyro, right? They've done that in the past too, and I honestly feel like Made in Philippines probably have a little bit more comfort with Ken playing the TA, just because you're able to farm so quickly with it. I like this Pango pick, you know, against either the Zeus or the Ember Spirit, it's going to be really good. You talked about the spellcasting meta. Well, if you're inside the Rolling Thunder, you really don't care too much about that, and you can also eventually scale in that mid lane to being a bit more of the right-click damage to deal with the Lycan Wolves, which have a good amount of magic resist. So I think this is a good pick. It was a little bit telegraphed, considering that the Grimstrokes band, the Bloodseekers band, what do they go now? That's going to provide them some kind of team fight disruption or some stun. Is it Beastmaster in the pool? Nope, they go the Pudge. Okay.
Well, that makes it a very fun game for us at the very least. So POS 1 Pudge is what we should be looking at, and there goes DB taking it for himself. Well, I don't know, Tanog. I mean, it's a very interesting draft. You've got me kind of doubting AG's draft now, especially with the team fight that they have. It does feel a little bit lackluster. Any kind of notes here? I mean, who do you think has the better draft now that they're finished?
I mean, I hate Pango when it's not played as a mid. I think it just doesn't get anywhere near as much farm, or not even farm, it's the experience that's the big area that's lacking. And they're playing it on Rapido this game. So in the off lane, I just feel like it's not going to have anywhere near the same level of impact. They've got the Tiny on JG, so clearly they just want that early Blink Dagger and the capability to make plays. They're putting a lot of faith into Ken's ability to carry the game. And if it goes late, Ken is going to be able to be that one, right? You've also got a Tiny that's going to be able to scale. You've got the Marcy. It's a pos 4 Marcy, by the way, which is fine. You know, paired together with the Pango, it's all right. I'm going to go with Made in Philippines for this one, just because I feel like they've got enough ways to stop the push. Like, they've got lots of high instances of damage as well as, like, those little instances as well. So Flesh Heap's going to be not quite as effective as previous.
I think that's a fair assumption. I mean, we'll get into it though. Game number 1 here between Army Geniuses and, of course, MIPH. You did mention you like the draft of MIPH a little bit better, and I tend to agree with you on that. I'm very unsure what AG is going to get done with their own draft, but I suppose we get to find out right here and now as we do get into game number 1. No, we'll see. I mean, like you said, AG, you kind of assumed before the tour started that they'd have a very good time, but it hasn't so much been the case. MIPH, I believe, currently the exact same scoreline as the side of AG. So it's a bit of an even matchup between these two teams, or at least we hope it is.
Was that intentional?
There's going to be a 5-on-5 smoke straight off the bat. Though I wonder if we see a level 1 team fight.
Yeah, well, with a Pudge, maybe, right? You always got that reposition. He's already skilled up the meat hook. Obviously, a good tool for being able to secure those range creeps in lane, but even better if you're able to get that gank attempt. I saw in the NA DPC, there's this spot to the right-hand side of the Radiant Tier 1 mid tower, where if you place yourself just right and you land the hook, you actually just completely block someone in. So if they do land the right hook onto the right person, that could be the play, but it doesn't seem like Made in Philippines are too keen on being able to make a team fight happen this early on. It's not like they have a bad team fight, though.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. We'll see. I mean, they're waiting for the bounty runes. Maybe just go for the hook when the bounties spawn, the old pub special. So Lucify and Rupido are going to be hanging around there, though I do dare say you'd prefer to find Lucify if you can. I suppose both the Pango and Marcy, though, can be quite mobile as DB. Gonna have a look around for this hook. Maybe just goes for the bounty rune instead. And he does. So we'll just take it. No need to force the fight. Let's go back to the laning stage with an even trade on those bounties, and yeah.
3 for 0. They denied one and they got the other 3. So nicely done by Army Geniuses there.
That is very, very good. Great start here for AG. Talk to me about this bot lane though, Danog. I mean, Pos 5 Zeus is what we're looking at here, along with DB. Do you like this safe lane? Do you think MIPH has the better off lane, perhaps? What do you think?
I think they do. I think I'm not a huge fan of the 5 Zeus, right? At least for Zeus, you have a little bit of that capability to go back to your triangle to build up some of the stacks. It means that you're going to get a lot more of that passive gold. Ooh, nicely done by Varize there, lucking out, being able to get the lane D ward off by the use of the lightning bolt. But I just feel like you're so susceptible to dying in this lane, right? Marcy, Pango, it's a very strong combination, and you're not going to have the capability to just consistently spam out these abilities off cooldown. Like, you are so heavily based around just this smallish mana pool to be able to start out. He's already ferried himself a couple of extra clarities for the lane.
Yeah, on top of the 3 mangoes he already has, he's going to definitely try to get aggressive, as there is going to be a bit of a dispose here from Lucify. DB be copying quite a bit of damage, but we'll have a look at this lane again in just a moment, as we'll have a look over to the mid lane now. Of course, Ken and Azura going to be going at it, and we are going to have that classic SEA pause, but Azura versus Ken, I mean, it's the old school kind of Ember versus TA matchup. It doesn't feel like it really works the way it used to, but who do you think should have the advantage here?
I'm just trying to think, like, are any of the supports able to rotate? That's the big thing for mine, because in a vacuum, I would say the Ember wins out just by having the Flame Guard. TA has absolutely no way to get rid of it, so you're able to provide a good amount of harass. But if Ken's on point with being able to land a lot of those side lane attacks. Actually, I didn't even notice. So Ken's actually playing the TA in the mid lane specifically. He's normally the pos 1 in the safe lane, but they've switched JG up to being on top. So maybe just a comfort thing. I mean, JG's got a good TA, but Ken's looked, like I said during the draft, just that little bit above.
He certainly has, and well, we'll see how he does do with it. Of course, we did forget to mention, but the 1 and 8 bet odds, of course, are in the favor of AG, I believe, going into this matchup. Just slightly late, but they're there. See if the odds do prove to be correct. Of course, top lane. You spoke about JG. He's playing that pos 1 Tiny here. Tihi taking the position 5 Gyrocopter. Of course, Narman and Wommy are going to be against them on the Lycan and the Keeper of the Light. Wommy obviously going to be going very early on for that Helm of the Dominator, as we do tend to see with Lycans these days. Do you think this pos 1 Tiny struggles at all here? Like, should JG have a rough time, or should it kind of work the other way?
I think right now what you need to be mostly concerned about is getting that early farm and being this pos 1 that's a bit more active, right? So it's weird, right? Because I feel like this TA absolutely has the capability to contest into Army Geniuses, and that's really the strength, the timing that you need to be addressing, because I think Army Geniuses are making a big mistake if they look to make too many aggressive moves before the Pudge is level 10. He's not one of these heroes that like to build into too much armor, and you're essentially doubling your armor once you get to level 10 just because of going into that talent. So I think when you're going up against the heavy physical damage capabilities of a core Tiny, a core TA, a Pango who has Swashbuckle, it's something that you need to be concerned about.
He trying to get a little bit aggressive here on the Gyrocopter, and of course with the homing missile and rocket barrage, you're not going to have too much of an issue getting a hell of a lot of damage out onto this Coddle. Meanwhile, the other lane's quite passive right now as well. Like, we haven't really seen too much aggression flying out from, say, the bot lane with DB. I don't even know if he's thrown a hook out yet, apart from going for the range creeps. Barish, well, there's your hook out now, but Rupido gonna swashbuckle right out of there, and I guess it's one of the problems. You may as well not hook them because they can always just get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And, I mean, even just going on to the Zeus now, right? Now that he's level 2, he's got the Heavenly Jump, so going to be so much more capable of escaping a lot of these gank attempts. Again, a Marcy with 1 point in rebound is still pretty ridiculous. I think this is a game where Varese just needs to itemize, especially pre-First Blood, not itemize, skill, for a little bit more of that survivability. You know, you can see the Heavenly Jump, it's got the 25-second cooldown. And have a look at the Pango spells, right? Early on, 20 seconds, 18 seconds, but they reduce pretty quickly, right? So you need to make sure that you're prioritizing the Heavenly Jump so that you're able to get away from consecutive gank attempts.
That's fair. We do see pos 5 Zeus's do tend to kind of opt to just kind of level that Heavenly Jump up most of the time, I think. See if Vrish does the exact same thing. Definitely agree that's probably the way to go about it, as... well, for now at least, this bot lane does seem like it's going to be rather passive, and I've got to say the same about every other lane. Like, no kills are probably going to come out of these lanes for quite a bit of time. It just feels like everyone's got an escape route, so we might have to wait till after the laning stage to see some real action breaking out. But First Blood is still up for grabs for either side, and well, just again, I just don't see where it's going to happen. Because we have another
I mean, I was thinking, we had another pause, right?
Very calm right now.
Some pauses coming out. I have to wonder, like, we had a very small update come through during the delay for the game to start, and I've actually just received a PM from one of the other casters within our big casting family saying that there have been some Twitter posts, like by Saberlight, saying, hey, Dota 2, can I cast my spells? So hopefully there's no bugs where we would need to remake the game if players literally just cannot click their spells. It's pretty rare for us to say it, but hopefully this time it's only lag.
I am getting the same updates as we speak, Danog. Yeah, apparently there's some spell casting issues going on right now, so like you said, hopefully
that was 15 minutes ago, though, right? So we started the game, what, 10 minutes ago? So maybe it was fixed in that small little update.
You might be, you'd hope so, at least.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, it doesn't feel like we're going to be restarting the game anyway, according to our admin, so unless there is somebody that forgot to update or, you know, still having those issues, it seems like we should be good. Last I heard, we were just having mic issues here for MIPH, so hopefully they get that sorted, but I suppose with the disconnection, it doesn't feel like mic issues right now.
It's normally John that's having mic issues, having to cast with you all the time, though. That's the main
That's very
thing.
true.
Yeah.
It's
And
very
do you
true.
think he's actually at the beach today, or do you think that was just some cover-up?
He's at the beach. I've seen the photos. He is at the beach, and it looks quite beautiful. Very blue water. Looks like he's in paradise right now. Unlike us, who are currently sitting in a pause. But there we go. Unpause is there. Narman gonna cop a homing missile, but is gonna be just fine. And well, again, like we were kind of mentioning before the pause even started, chances are First Blood is gonna take a bit of time with this game.
It's going to take a bit of time. It's going to rely on, you know, some overextension coming through. You know, again, bottom lane is really where the highest kill threat is this game, and the supports don't have the capability to rotate quite as much. I mean, we've seen Teehee there just securing the water runes, which is obviously going to be nice against an Ember Spirit, but it's really around this Lycan Helmet the Dominator timing.
They are trying right now. DB getting very, very low with the sidekick. DB, he's going to stick charge up, but it's not going to be enough. Rupido able to secure the kill there along with Lucify, and that'll be First Blood to go his way. And Danog, that's one thing we didn't really mention. Sidekick with Swashbuckle, I believe, adds the added damage.
Pretty strong, yeah. I was under the assumption as well, and I was actually in the Eastern European DPC panel talking about how that was really strong, and then someone in chat said it didn't work, and I haven't had the chance to test it since then, but I think it should work. It works with like Clink's barrage of arrows and all that sort of stuff, so I don't know. We'll see if it does.
Just now I'm curious. I might have to test it as soon as we get out of this game. It feels like it should work, but we'll see.
It feels like it should.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it.
Nearly died solo mid. He just like 6 consecutive side blades to the face through denies and last hits from Ken. So we were talking about that comfort pick, and top side they're actually looking to make a bit of aggression happen.
Yeah, Narman already going to drop Wami, of course, on the Lycan, unable to help as now JG and Teehee. They'll go for a bit of a chase, but Wami, quite tanky, just with the helm. So he's going to be just fine to tank through the damage, but can't say the same for the Keeper.
Yeah, too true. I'm saying that Army Geniuses, they need this level 10 on the Pudge, and they need this Helm of the Dominator on the Lycan just to be able to create a little bit more space for themselves, create some of that unknown, I guess you could call it, for the Pudge to be able to play around. But while he's still in lane, this is what can happen, right? It's just such a strong laning combination together with that sidekick, with the rebound. The damage potential is so huge.
That's the thing. I think he had the Flesh Heap on cooldown when they made the dive in, so you know, you have that on cooldown, it's going to make it that much harder to survive. Speaking of survival, mid lane, Azura going to get stunned up. They'll try to get the damage out. Not enough quite yet, Ken. He'll go for a bit of a slow, but it's not going to make the difference. So Azura, he'll stick around and try to get a little bit aggressive, but nothing really going to come out of it. But they are still grouping around here. MIPH, all in the mid lane right now, trying to abuse the siege creep timing. Azura gonna respond now, but Ken is sticking around, and still a substantial amount of damage is gonna come out onto that mid-tier 1.
They back up. Alright, so we have a little bit of an update. So the game will carry on regardless, and we've cast a lot of Clowny games in the past together, Mike, but this might be a new one for the history books. So basically, with the update that just happened, TPs were broken a little bit. They only work in the direction that you're facing. Same with most spells. So the teams know. But the game is continuing forward, so we'll see what happens.
Okay, here we go. Varish in trouble down at bot lane. Rupido, he'll go for the chase with the sidekick, but Narman has shown up to try and help out. Still, it's a lot of damage that's been dealt here down at the bot lane, but they are chasing Lucify, who almost drops with the Fairy Fire. Is going to keep him alive as Rupido. He'll just keep going for more. Almost taking down the Coddle. He will get Varish for his trouble, and somehow this Marcy ends up getting his life out of there.
I'm trying to think with that, like, which heroes that actually impacts the most, right? Is it the Ember because he might be trying to run away and then slide behind him? Is it going to be the Pango going for a swashbuckle as he's running away? Does it even happen for vector targeted spells? Who knows? Who knows what happens? We'll have to wait for it to play out.
Again, mid lane, gets chained up for a second, but Azura won't be able to follow up anymore. It's only level 1 chains. In fact, Teehee gonna go for a bit of a chase on Azura, but not gonna be able to stun him up. Just caught the illusion rune and will walk away with that as the gyrocopter. Still, it is 0-4 the way of MIPH, so it's very happy days for them, but here comes Wommy. He's got the Helm of the Dominator up. Teehee gonna get slowed up with the Acorn shot from his neutral. Wommy, that's about all he has to use, but he'll just chase him down the old-fashioned way as Azura is gonna kind of intervene and make sure that this Gyrocopter does get taken out. That'll be the first kill on the board for Army Geniuses.
Feels a little bit out of desperation though, doesn't it, Mike? You know, you've used the full first shapeshift to be able to take out a position 5. All the while, JG was just sitting up top, farming away. He had TA going between the jungle as well as the lane, and bot lane again. Like, the top 3 cores right now are all on Made in Philippines.
It did feel very, very desperate. I do agree with that. I mean, as a Pos 5 Gyrocopter, you're not really going to care anyway. You know the wolf form's down now, so it's kind of easy days for the Tiny for a while. Speaking of the Tiny, JG all the way up to the top of the net worth board, and it doesn't seem like they're going to slow him down anytime soon. It's the freest Tiny game of his life so far. It's Teehee. He's eventually going to be spotted here by Azura. Wolves will help out. Teehee just kind of getting shredded there by the Wolves. Does get taken down, so Azura able to pick up his second kill of the game.
Okay, so maybe that death wasn't quite worth, right? They didn't need to use quite so much to be able to pick it up. And I was thinking maybe when they had the shapeshift on cooldown, you might have had Rapido look to rotate towards the top side, but instead, they're just going to pair together, kill Narman. Again, the use of that sidekick. It came out after the swashbuckle, so I didn't even get to see if it actually does work, but yeah, it's just still a really strong lane.
Well, it feels like this is the way you're meant to be playing Marcy, especially in the support role, right? Like, just max sidekick with the right off lane. And there's really nothing you can do about it. It's just way too much damage. Here we go. Azura. He's going to be okay to remnant out. Even getting lucky with a nice regen.
Movement speed. Look how stupid it is. Like 5 seconds at one level. It's just way too much value point for 1 point in the rebound, right? For 5 seconds of 45% extra movement speed. You may as well put more points to the sidekick. The payoff is so much better.
It certainly is. Rapido. I mean, it's basically a double damage this early on for any hero he wants to give it to, plus himself. Makes it so valuable here as MIPH will get started on the bot tier 1 tower push, but Wommy will do the same with his own team up at top lane. JG, though, already leaving the building. Leaving towards his tier 2 tower through the tree line. He is not going to be caught out. Great timing to leave, and it feels like they're going to get the tier 1 top, but it's going to be an even trade anyway. On tier 1 dropping, and there's nobody there to defend it.
So I'm pretty sure just from watching Rapido use the sidekick for the creep wave, it doesn't work alongside the sidekick. So that's nice. At least it's not Omega busted.
Oh.
But, you know, you've still got great heroes like the Tiny and the TA, of course, to be able to make use out of it.
That is a bit sad, though. Would have loved to see how broken that combo would be if it had worked, but...
Farm some MMR?
It would be great. It would be really nice, but, you know, not going to happen, sadly. Rapido, though, I'm sure he'll still be very happy. I mean, he's 4-0-0 right now. Danog, he's having a very good time. No deaths on the board for this Pango, and I mean, you talked about not really liking Pango unless it's in the mid lane, but considering the game that he's had already, Rapido should have a very, very good game on his hands.
Yeah, maybe we'll make an exception, right? Because just being paired together with the Marcy just feels like it's a huge steroid for any hero that you're paired together with. So now he's got that level 9, max swashbuckle, max shield crash, rolling thunder. It's basically anyone, any area of the map can be yours if you want it.
They are going to smoke up. Into the mid lane they go, MIPH. Trying to find something. Azura, he's under vision. Could be very scary here for the Ember. They do get a nice rebound off. Sidekick will be there. They unleash as well. They do not dispose though. So no dispose coming out. Rapido unable to find another angle to stun, and that's going to mean Azura's just right out of it.
It's a pretty big deal. I mean, we were talking about the ineffectiveness of the rotations previously, but that was on Army Genius's side. This time around, Rolling Thunder, pretty big cooldown. Same sort of thing with the Unleash, still at level 1. It's not quite as long as it used to be, but 100 seconds of downtime means more space to be able to farm for the Lycan. Now he's got that Vladimir's offering. So perhaps they look to make a play around this mid lane. Group up together knowing that you've got the superior team fight right now.
Well, we are going to have another pause coming out, and I guess that gives us a nice chance to look at how this game is going overall. It's still top 3 net worths are all on the side of MIPH. Difference being now the Tiny is at the bottom, and it does seem like the TA Kent has overtaken to be at the top. Of course, Rupido right behind them on that TA. Just 6.2k net worth himself. Getting a very strong game so far. You do still have this pos 1 Pudge, but it does feel like not really much has happened for DB this game. Though he does group up with his team now and is working towards the Aghanim Scepter, so maybe we see something now. But who do they find is the question.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, with Made in Philippines, you know that they're going to be making any rotations. It's going to be on the left-hand side of this, right? So they're all just grouping up on the right, playing under the safety of the tower, preventing any smokes from just completely revealing their position. And with this TP from the Tiny, that might actually end up popping something, but still doesn't have the blink dagger for himself.
They see one, the Tiny, that's a massive target as the call down is going to come out immediately, and Azura makes the jump in with the chains out, but do they have the damage output? Not quite yet. JG is out of there. Instead they'll try for Rupido on the Pangolier, but he's fine as well. They do find JG though. They've got the Tiny. That's a great pickup here for Army Geniuses, as they will head back towards the mid-tier 1 tower and see what they can find out of this. Still, MIPH, they want to try and defend. Like you said, the wolf form is gone.
And they've got their ultis now.
They do. Azura gonna make the jump in for a nice easy hook for DB. That'll be another 2 down now for MIPH. Army Genius is still trying for that mid-tier 1 tower. Ken gonna show up once again, but the chains around. Rupido just waiting very patiently to throw out the Rolling Thunder if he needs to. And this mid-tier 1 tower, it's just not gonna drop.
How they take it. Yeah. It's going to be rough, for sure. And, you know, Ken gets out of that relatively unscathed. He's still got his Blink Dagger, so they can look to make an aggressive attempt still now, if they want to, with the Tiny respawning. And looks like that might be the plan. I mean, 4 people coming back, just checking if there's any wards, and then immediately looking to smoke. So let's see what the positioning is like from Army Geniuses, because this should be pretty obvious. And, yeah, great scan coming out. They know exactly where they're looking to rotate through to. They're going to play behind their tower. No Desolator just yet. I was thinking maybe that you can look to consider Roshan, but no points in the lucky shot, no Desolator. You'd be relying on the meld entirely, and I think it would just be a tiny bit too slow without those accelerants.
T-Heat. Smoke broken here by Varish. Like you mentioned, MIPH, they were scanned out, so they're going to find nothing for this big smoke rotation. After such a great laning stage, they've got to be careful to give too much time back the way of Army Geniuses. So this Pudge, it can farm very, very fast in the right circumstances. For now.
And in the next shapeshift, you're going to have the Helm of the Overlord as well. Just about 150 gold away, so really looking to see Army Geniuses play around that timing. I mean, if they got anything else that's going to be coming around that time. Varish looks like he's going to have the Aghanim Shard as well. So again, you're against these pretty tanky heroes. And just another way to be able to get rid of a refraction charge as well with that static field.
Absolutely. So far so good, though Azura is going to get stunned up by the homing missile eventually. But he does manage to remnant away. It's like Wami actually denies off the double damage route that goes down a bot, so Azura not going to be able to head towards that, but he's still happy just surviving, I'm sure. And I'm not sure who this actually favors, right? Because you look at the draft of AG and you see a pos 1 Pudge, you see a mid-ember. You look at MIPH, they have TA, they have Tiny. You'd think that they should have the late game, or rather just mid to late game advantage, but you don't know. And AG, they seem more than comfortable dragging this game out.
It's a weird situation, right? Because they've just got such big timings that happen early on, so they're happy to take this farm a little bit slower, or the Observe Ward from T-He completely catching out their smoke. So let's have a look at some of the positioning again, this time around on Made in Philippines. They're just going between that Tier 1 and Tier 2 for now. Really only Rupido is showing himself.
Lucify, he's actually sitting up to the backside. They might be setting up for a good team fight here, though Dismember is out of the T-He. So they get the pos 5 gyro. That's about all they're going to get out of this. But it seems like Army Geniuses, just with that 1 kill alone, will be able to head into the mid-tier 1 tower. And now with the Helm of the Overlord, it's not going to be too hard to take that out. See what else AG can do, though. They want to try and take over that Dire jungle now. Maybe start heading slowly towards that top tier 2 tower. Seems like MIPH, they're the ones that need to respond.
Dire are scanning.
Still feel like they're happy to farm as well, though. Actually, never mind. They're going to go into the Roche pit, so forcing out the hand on Made in Philippines a little bit. But again, you've got all of your heroes back up the line. At least they didn't use any of those huge cooldowns, though, on Army Geniuses. So it looks like they might be able to get away with this.
They may. I mean, Roshan is dropping low, but MIPH, they have smoked up trying to make their way over. I just think it's way too late, but they do have a second more of time. The Rolling Thunder is going to be them, but it's all too late. Half a second, but maybe they can still fight. DB stuck in the Roshan pit right now, but no, JG, he gets hooked. They've got the Tiny and the Roshan. JG, he's just going to drop on that pos one Tiny. Great hook out from DB. They'll just keep going for more now. Azura, he'll chase on the left side. Wami will chase on the right. They're not going to find anything else for their trouble. But they've already got probably the best target you could have asked for.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, this is one of those ones that you want to give it over to someone like the Pudge. It's already so hard to kill him the once. Now, second life, really going to be a significant deal when you have to consider what you're going up against, right? The Pango, the Marcy, you're probably not going to have the utilization of their ultimates for the secondary life. And I believe with this creep cam, he's going to have the kill here onto a couple of people on the bot side.
Yeah, Narman, he's still running. Teehee, he's going to get hooked in. I don't know about that, like, Narman, he might be okay with that. You give another Flesh Heap stack away to DB and another kill away to the Pudge. And in fact, they even found the Marcy on the opposite side of the map.
Very, very surprising. They're just outplaying them right now on Army Geniuses, and with that, Pudge has the Aghanim Scepter available for himself. He's got the Hood of Defiance. I'm sure he's going to go Eternal Shroud next. Didn't end up going the +4 armor, and maybe that'll end up biting him. I think now he's going to need to itemize a little bit more towards that. Phase Boot's helping a little bit, but not enough in my eyes.
That's fair. I guess it's because he went the Ags for the Rot build up and just wants the full kind of emphasis on the Aghanim Scepter Rot build. See if it does pay off though. I do agree the armor probably is quite high value here as Lucify. They get caught out, the chains are there. JG gonna try and help, does take out Varish as Lucify actually gonna run his way out. It is gonna be okay for now. Even TPing up Rupido just in case they need it for the team fight, but it doesn't seem like AG intend on going much further than that.
Doesn't seem like they can. I mean, again, though, they didn't pop any of these big cooldowns. They've rectified the mistake that they made early on with a lot of those movements. This time around, Shapeshift still available, and you would have to assume that Made in Philippines just need to make sure they're playing defensively, they're playing around their wards. Like, obviously, it's always important to do that, but now more than ever, right? Like, you've hit your timings on Army Geniuses to make this early aggression happen. They're not going to be sitting back in the jungle just doing nothing. They're going to be playing on your side of the map. They're going to go for ganks. So you have to make sure that you're responding accordingly.
You see the odds kind of changing up a little bit there from 198bet as well, but it still seems to be in the favor of Army Geniuses as top lane. DB needs to get out, and they haven't got a great way to stun him. DB just not close enough on the Pudge to land a hook. Instead, back towards the top tier 2 tower they go, but it doesn't seem like they're quite ready to take it. Just keeping that farm going. And speaking of farm going, Ken, still top of the net worth board on the CA, working towards his BKB now, but hasn't really gotten too involved in any fights yet.
Yeah, that's always the thing, right? Like, you just even have a look at the level differential. He's a full 4 levels ahead of this Pudge, so he's going to have that that impact later on. You're going to be able to have potentially the Meld Dispel talent as well, coming up against someone like the Zeus for the slow, for the Keeper of the Light, for the blind, for the Searing Chains. So that, to me, feels like what Made in Philippines are playing around. The BKB plus TA level 20. It's just, can you hold off a lot of this push before then?
Top lane. MIPH so far so good. Holding back that tier 2 tower. Azura, he'll address the bot tier 2 tower push that was happening by Ken. Ken is going to stick around and keep that wave going. Azura is going to be just fine to remnant backwards. Though JG has shown up on that pos 1 Tiny, but in fact Azura's the one who's going to spot him first. You see ulti from our Zeus as they are going to chase them down with the smoke, but there was a very nice scan out from MIPH to know the smoke is incoming. And it seems like MIPH, they should be just free to walk out of this.
Yeah, and previously the supports were putting their lives on the line, just saying, look, we want to die, our cores are more important at this time, but when you've come up against this Army Geniuses draft that have a lot of their timings, like they've got the Helm of the Overlord, they've got the Aghanim Scepter on the Pudge, they've got the Aegis, you need to be ready to fight. Like, you can't be one man down at this stage.
MIPH, he does end up going down again at the very least. On the bot side, it was about a two-hit situation there onto the Zeus. Mid lane, MIPH, they are going to pop the Rolling Thunder because they found Azura on the Ember. DB does go for a hook onto JG, but it's not going to help his Aegis attack. He's in trouble now. Aegis 5 seconds away from expiring, and there it is. It is gone. No secondary life available. That's going to be the punch. Is just going to drop. Great timing from MIPH. And in they go into the mid lane. Nothing to stop them.
There's those timings, right? That's all that Dota is. It's just about how can you abuse the fact that you're stronger at this point in time. And if you're not stronger right now, how can you make it a period where you're stronger? We saw it yesterday with Team Spirit. Yatoro just had his team make space for him for 20 minutes, and he was an absolute beast on both the Faceless Void and the Monkey King. This time around, it was hold as much towers as we can. You haven't lost a tier 2 against a Lycan early Helm of the Overlord lineup, and Ken, he's got that BKB available for himself. So you've done really well on Made in Philippines.
There's that sidekick again, just kind of making the life so easy of Ken here on this TA. Just so much bonus damage. They do take the bottom T2 tower. They'll take the outpost away from Army Geniuses, but it does seem like they're ready to take it back. An immediate 5-man smoke up though here from MIPH. They may head towards top side. Under a ward though. It's very obvious that they have done this, but they're going to find a double damage rune for their trouble anyway. Not too bad. Or are they? Lucified. He's gone already. Narman gonna make the jump in. Azura popping his BKB to try and survive through this onslaught as Narman is gonna drop it now. Varish. He might go to boot. Who do they want? It is gonna be the Zeus. Rupido picking up his 7th kill of the game so far on this this POS 3 Pangolier. They do get the chains out onto the TA, but it won't matter. They'll just Lotus it off and... Well, I mean, you still got the double damage on the TA, so I don't think Ken's gonna mind.
Yeah, they were using it as bait, basically. Like, they had someone standing up on the high ground just to be able to pop any kind of attempts. Obviously, DD, such a valuable rune to be able to claim at this stage, although not really anyone on Army Geniuses makes amazing usage out of it. Maybe the Ember Spirit, right? But, yeah, clearly it was a good attempt for them. They were able to get 2 kills for the cost of 1. You still get the DD. Surprisingly enough, though, TA went for the meld armor reduction, maybe just wanting to punish that Pudge as much as he can. We've talked up the effectiveness of the Flesh Heap, right? Just really a great tool at being able to stop lots of those small instances of damage, like the Rocket Barrage, like the Swashbuckle, like the Unleash, like the Avalanche. But against a TA with Sidekick that's just chunking you down for about 2,000 damage a hit, it's not going to do that much.
Yeah, very effective whatsoever. MIPH, they're in the driver's seat. 5k net worth lead their way. Question is, who do they want to go on? JG's having a look at Azura up at the top side of the map, but the Ember's going to be able to back himself out of there, no problem. He does run right into JG, but Remnant's right back out. Rest of MIPH still sticking around in the mid lane, trying to find a fight for themselves. Seem kind of lost right now as to where to head, but certainly does feel like the stronger team at the moment. But AG, they're going to avoid...
We're also seeing Army Geniuses with Wami go into probably a little bit of an earlier BKB than most Lycans would enjoy to have, but you just have to, again, consider what they're coming up against. I mean, it's this Pango, right? We talked about it in the early parts of the game. You've got a Zeus, a Pudge, Huddle.
Picking up that Pudge, Danog. He gets caught out, tossed back from JG, and they just leave him. He just gets annihilated in the mid lane, and now MIPH, they might want to go for a bit more. The Wolf Form was popped as well, so they might be able to settle for the mid T2 tower. I don't see how AG can fight this.
I don't either. I mean, they've got no defensive tools against this. I mean, Coral could slowly shove out the lanes, so maybe they go for some kind of backstep. Seems like they're pretty content just to take over a little bit of the triangle. Hope for Roshan being up, which of course, you've got a TA trap, you always have that first information.
You
know as well, though.
Roshan, but is it too late, though? Yeah, it is. Shan's up, Aegis up on Ken. He's more than happy. His mid lane, Azura, he might get something. Find TD on the gyrocopter. that'll be about it though. He's gonna back out, and again, the mid-tier 2 tower, it's still vulnerable, but MIPH, they might want to just slow play this.
Have you ever seen the Marcy Ag Shard? I haven't seen it in action yet, and I just want to think, like, is it something that you can use on Ken, for example, to help him engage if Blink Dagger's on cooldown somehow?
I have no idea how that chance goes. I've never seen it myself. I couldn't even imagine what it does. I'd like to see it though, now that I've read what it actually does. That's what is it meant to do? It's kind of confusing, this shard description.
I mean, Marcy's basically the Brock Lesnar of Dota, right? She's just suplexing people all over the map. So I think we're just going to see that look to continue. I mean, you've obviously got a really nice Vlad's Offering. Again, you don't even need to build it into the Wraith pack because you've got decent heroes to be able to take it out. Of course, Leica with all of his summons does it pretty damn quickly, but I mean, I honestly wouldn't hate to see it come out. They gave the Ag Shard from the Roche Pit over to the Pango, I believe, just to provide him with that extra level of survivability, realizing how important he is to their team fight. I mean, I've talked ad nauseum about how strong this hero is against Army Genius's heroes.
Bot lane, DB, he could be in danger. Ken, wrapping around the long way, trying to hunt down the Coddle. DB, he's going to try for the TP out, might just make it, and does. They miss out. They just didn't seem quick enough. And that nighttime vision not helping the cause, and well, they even miss out on the Keeper of the Light.
Spry does get away from that gank attempt on top, and it was the Shapeshift being popped for it as well. So I know you've lost the Rolling Thunder, but honestly, I feel like Shapeshifts is even more important in terms of damage output, provided that you're able to get in onto Varish, prevent him from having that Aghanims, or even just casting frequent spells, right? I've talked about the effectiveness of the static field against a tanky lineup, like a Tiny, extra things to be able to break through those refraction charges, and you don't have a huge amount of time to be able to really make the most out of that, because TA is approaching 25. You're going to have those extra 7 refraction instances, and I mean, what's going to stop it? Ember? That's basically it. I mean, Pudge, sure, but I feel like if Pudge is next to a TA with the rot going, TA is just going to turn around and right-click him to death.
Yeah. You've got the Halberd up on DB to try and kind of reduce some of that damage to come out from the TA, but you've still got JG to worry about as well. Into the mid lane, they'll get started to tier 2 mid tower as Hook is off the mark, and now DB, he might be in big trouble. Dispose is there, call down to follow up, DB just getting tossed up and thrown right back down, is gone. They missed one Hook and that's it, he's just dead.
Now, I mean, you've got the Lycan still up on the top side, doing his best to pressure. Unfortunately for Wami, it's just a very quick rotation from JG that removes that from the equation. It does feel like they need to play a little bit of this rat style of Dota. I always say, you know, when you're 9, 10k behind at this stage of the game, you've just got to, like, split the map up. Have people farm in different lanes. One of them might die, but all of them won't. So you're going to be getting 2 out of 3. Which ain't bad, but not with this lineup. That's for sure. They don't have that split pushing capabilities in my eyes outside of the Lycan.
Yeah. Well, Varish was that one you talked about that is going to die, sadly, in the down to the bot lane. Ken does take care of him on his own. Well, top lane, Narman. They know he's around there somewhere, but the Glimmer Cape is going to save him. Now DB going to get slowed up with the Solar Bind. Wolf Form also popped, I believe, by Wami. They're trying. GG might just turn around here. The Wami runs right past him.
Detection. Okay.
No, they don't. Okay.
And they see that the Wolf Form is popped. So, yeah. Just go in, take all the towers.
Beautiful. Well, there goes the tier 2 mid. And, yeah, like you said, Danog, they might just go high ground, or they might just go for another tier 2 tower. I mean, there's only one left standing. They know there's no way they can force the fight here, Army Geniuses, and hell, even with the Wolf Form, to be fair, I don't think they can fight right now. This Pudge is just nowhere near the level he needs to be able to get anything done. JG, top lane, just still taking care of the dominated creeps. Might just get it
Look
eventually.
at this. It's a big rock chasing a big rock. Tiny ends up winning out. But yeah, it just feels like this Made in Philippines draft, yes, it had the potential for, you know, having strong lanes and all that sort of thing for the early game. But the big reason behind why I was heavily backing them to be able to take this one out as we're seeing another rotation come through from JG.
Oh, DB. Not the punch again. Unleash, dispose. The punch is just locked down forever. No way out. Oh, AG, they are really starting to suffer now. I just don't know how you come back into this game now. Like, with a punch that's just not as farmed as he should be, and it's such a rough time.
You got to snowball. That's the thing that I was talking about, right? It's kind of falls into the mold of the Wind Rangers, the Meepos, the mid-shadow teams, right? You need to just have a dominant early game as well. They're going to get another kill onto the Coddle. Just trying to do anything on the map to be able to take attention away from their side of the base, and that's just not going to be enough. Certainly
is not. So get another. And it seems like this game just turned into a bit of a hunt here for MIPH. JG can jump right in. Let's get the Avalanche toss back on Azura. He'll try for the Remnant away, but the Meld Strike is going to follow him down as Azura still trying to run. Oh my god! He gets crit on the last hit. I believe that was about 900 damage that came out.
You love to see it. Yeah, this is what a TA can do in Ken's hands, right? I talked about it. Comfort, comfort, comfort. Low armor, low armor, low armor. So, it's just such a great player when he's got his right heroes. And looks like there's absolutely nothing that they can do to repel this push.
I mean, you can hook one, but that probably just means DB dies. He'll try. There's JG. Well, they won't even connect the hook. Toss back.
Nice
DB in trouble. Is going to try to find a way to fight this, but he's just perma-stunned up, so they are going. Robbie will rush in. Rolling Thunder there, so DB still just can't do anything throughout this team fight. And eventually he is going to die. The only thing they found is Lucifer's life. And I dare say that is not going to be worth the trade here for AG. In fact, it's not over yet.
Narman.
He'll be okay with the Ghost Scepter. Ken will be slowed up, but there's JG. He'll take care of it. No problem.
And they're still so far away from being able to pick up that next key item that might change the dynamic of this game, right? The Aghanim Scepter still 3 items away. AC still a mile away. 4-star, not going to change much. Aghanim Scepter on the Ember, nothing. So, Made in Philippines, they're just in the driver's seat right now. They need to...
Did you see that?
You love the side blades with the quiver.
He just got side bladed into a crit, I think. I couldn't even see Varush on the map at the time. He just died. That's terrible.
1,273 pure damage when he has 1,160 HP.
You love it. You love to see it. There's you like it. Bye-bye, Wommy. He probably doesn't enjoy seeing it, though. They might just wait for next Roshan now. It's only about 145 away. Double damage room going to be found out by Ken. I don't see how you win this game now as AG. It just feels like there's no way.
They had one chance, right, where they were able to get that teamfight victory. They were able to pick off the Tiny a couple of times, but through all that time, Ken was just farming, right? And this is what I was talking about. It's just all about making space for this TA. You don't deal well with minus armor. You don't deal well with any kind of spell immunity. And all the heroes that need it have it. So what do you do against it?
Well, good news, Danog. Apparently Gaben agrees with us. 100% the way of MIPH. It was 99% just a second ago, but as I was closing it, it updated to 100. So I tend to agree with that prediction. AG, I guess they could pull off a miracle. Not quite, though. Varish is already gone. Ken will make the jump in. They'll chase down Narman a little bit. They'll Lucify, not going to be able to find a disposed target, and DB not even going to bother trying for a hook, but there it is. With the chains out, they'll try. Ken, they'll just pop his BKB out, and they do buy back on Varish, but who's jumping who?
Yeah, I mean, you understand why they do it, right? Like, if they're able to get the chain stun in, I mean, they are severely lacking in stuns. I even just saw that on RB Geniuses, right? You needed to get the perfect lockdown where he's not able to pop the BKB, and then maybe you have a chance to take out
Avalanche out, Azura, nice chains out onto 2. Maybe they can force the fight, but Azura almost gone. He's going to try and find a way out of this with the heals out from the Coddle. Maybe he can make it to the side. JD has been caught out, but not for long. They've got the Ember. They've got TB. Look at the damage output. He just can't survive. DB's gone. Varish, he will drop to boot. Narman, he's the only one left. And even with the 4-star, he is not going to make it out. GG, they call it. They've had enough.
Understandably, like this is a demolition after that laning phase just didn't go as well as they expected. I understand the mentality behind the Pudge pick, but they just didn't punish this TA enough. And, yeah, that's all she wrote. Army Geniuses falling down in game number 1. I am going to eat my words a little bit about the Pango. I think when you're paired together with the Marcy, even though the sidekick doesn't work, they still tossed it on him constantly, so yeah, maybe the life still does, but it's so much more enabled in the laning stage, right? To be able to get those kills, to still allow you that snowballing potential that you get from a mid lane Pango.
Certainly does, Danog, certainly does, and that'll be, of course, game number 1, the way of MIPH. I do have a second, so I'll quickly ask you before we get into game 2's draft. What would you like to see changed up here from AG, in terms of draft at the least?
I'm going to need some stuns for starters. That'll be a nice beginning to everything. And I mean, just a hero that's going to make better use out of the Keeper of the Light, right? You picked it up early on in the draft, and then you paired it together with a Lycan. That realistically does nothing for the laning stage, right? You might be able to shove waves out and be able to take a tower early on, but beyond that, it really felt like it had absolutely no impact. So yeah, just a little bit more synergy and more stuns for Army Geniuses.
Well, on that note, we are going to head off to that very short break, and right after that break, we'll be back with game number 2 between Army Geniuses and Made in the Philippines. We'll see you there.